Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the GC Orthodontics Exchange podcast. So this is Antonino Secchi, orthodontics from Devon, Pennsylvania. And today I'm really happy to introduce you to Dr. Waugh from Georgia. And he's an experienced orthodontist, years of practicing, and actually he's the clinical director of Smile Docs Fixed Appliances. So he's going to tell more about his journey and also his experience specifically in the orthodontic fixed appliances and also the wires. And also I'm very happy to have here my friend Patrick O'Shea. He's the National Key Account Manager of GC. He's been in the industry for more than 25 years. We've been working together for years and years, and he's an expert in orthodontics, fixed appliances, and wires too. So let's start, Dr. Waugh, with your experience with Smile Docs, and how was your journey from when you started your office and how you kind of transitioned to Smile Doc?
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you inviting me here. I look forward to this. I did start practice in 1989, private practice, and I guess this makes it the 36th year, so that tells you anything. I've been around the block or two, but I'm still a private practice. And then I joined Smile Doctors in 2018, and we formed that group, and that was under the direction of Scott Law, Greg Goggins, Dana Fender, our original founders.
That's great.
It's kind of interesting. I was the 81st office that joined in 2018, and now we have over 560 offices.
Wow!
So
yeah,
a big growth spurt. I love what I do there. I was attracted to Smile Doctors simply because I was at that stage in my career that I was looking to see how do I exit, how do I finish this, and I have 4 kids, but I didn't have anybody interested in orthodontics. And I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to join a group, have the camaraderie piece, have the support, really, from the administrative part. And I kind of saw this be just going out into the sunset. And then I got busier because they made me their clinical director for braces. And I love that part because I've always loved testing and trialing products, and I love teaching. And so it's been a great ride.
You still teach, no, at the university?
I do. I teach at what's called Dental College of Georgia at Augusta University, formerly the Medical College of Georgia. And I love that because I drive in from Athens, Georgia to Augusta, of course, home of the masters. And I get to meet some really nice people along the way through the years. And now I've taught everybody practically in the state. So I know everybody. So it's just a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, working with students is always very kind of rewarding, I think. Yeah, absolutely. So, Patrick, so you've been working with Dr. Waugh for the last few years, no?
Yeah. And well, first of all, I want to start. It is a great honor for me to be sitting here with two of my really good friends and two just peers and pillars in the orthodontic community that I've learned so much from over my career. So, again, just want to start. It's a great honor, and I'm so delighted to be here. So, yeah, my journey in orthodontics was kind of by accident. It started in 1999 when I moved from Ireland to the US. I was really just looking for a job, put my resume out everywhere. I happened to meet a good friend that we all know, Tim Kane, with a small company in Germany way back in the day. We got connected. Long story short, I got hired. And that began my journey. I think it was March of 1999. Learned a lot from the ground up. And I learned really quick that it was something that I could really sink my teeth into because of simply who I am. I love to figure stuff out, as a kid, growing up in Ireland, we didn't have a lot, but, we would get one toy every Christmas. And I would be the one that would take it apart because I was more interested in how it worked than actually playing with it. So that natural curiosity was just a perfect fit for me in orthodontics. So I really just love it. And I sank myself into it and have learned a lot over my career since 99. And, I've been able to connect, so fortunate, with being able to connect with such great people like Dr. Waugh, Antonino Secchi, even Dr. Roth, so many great names in orthodontics that I've been able to meet and connect with, and we just learned so much. But 2.5 years ago, I got introduced to Dr. Waugh, again by Tim Kaine, I think, was made the introduction.
That's right.
And we found out quickly that we had a lot in common, a lot of the same curiosities about orthodontics. And that started us on an extraordinary journey that has brought us here today. So again, it's awesome. And, it's about wires, we both love fixed appliances and mechanics and just the little nuances behind it all and what is the difference that makes one great and one not so good. And, just with little conversations I was having with Dr. Waugh, the key elements of what was really important, we figured out real quick that we actually may have some solutions here that would benefit everybody. So,
and you know what, Patrick, and again, you brought like a good comment, like the wires. So it's been said that the wires became a commodity. People don't see the differences. Why spend money on a better wire? What is the difference of the wires? So I know, Dr. Waugh, that you have a lot of experience in wires, even done some studies. So what do you think about the status of the wires today and the difference between different wires? Like I know that you've been using the bioactive with different forces, or the initial alloys. So what do you think about those wires and how do you think they can affect the way that we treat people?
Yeah, great questions. And I'll just confirm that I thought I was crazy about wires till I met this guy right here.
That is true.
He had Tim Kaine.
Oh, yeah, man.
Are way into wire. Way more probably than me.
My wife says it's unhealthy. I should stop, but I can't.
Yeah.
I'm addicted.
You're going to write down my alley. That's why we get along so great, because I have been studying wire, and I've done it for years and years, and I have to give credit along the way to my mentors that have helped me. Through Damon System, Ormco, went to 3M and other companies, and we did a lot of wire testing even at the school. And I've just been a student of wire. I take pictures, been doing that before it was cool to take pictures at every appointment. And I learned so much from my pictures to see what works, what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. But as far as a commodity, I honestly can't imagine that today's university-trained orthodontists think wires is just a commodity, unless they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel, for price or whatnot, because it's just not that way at all. It means everything to the treatment. And for that reason, I started designing wire shapes and things like that would help me, treat the majority of my patients. And it was when we first ventured out of a one-size-fits-all wire, and came up with wire shapes and sizes that fit the majority of all patients, or really 95% of the patients. 3 wires. They're coordinated sets of wires, and probably most known to be called platinum proportion wires.
Yes. I read the white paper that you wrote is very fascinating, and actually I introduced that in my office.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
How's it going?
The 3 wire, very well.
All right.
Yeah. So maybe you can explain more about that kind of for 3 wires dimensions a little bit.
Sure. I don't mind. I'll try to keep it pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
At the outset.
Yeah.
When you have 3 wires that nest inside of each other, like coordinated wires.
Yep.
We'll just call them large, medium, small.
Yep.
And they sit inside each other a couple of millimeters. What you would do to coordinate an upper and lower wire set. So if you have large teeth, we designed the larger of the 2 sets, the large upper, medium lower. And then for patients with smaller teeth, we go to the medium upper, small lower.
Yeah.
So by doing that, we cover the full range of patients. It's really a bell curve. And the larger patients get the bigger wires. The value of that is that we don't create unnecessary spacing by broadening too broad an arch for the small teeth. So we can select those. And now it's really carrying over into the digital market. So it's really interesting to see the ideas we had before when it was analog, right? So
it's perfect timing for your philosophy, really. With that, as we migrate over from that so-called analog environment into our digital world, it's just a perfect fit, isn't it? That we can integrate that now and just be a little more custom to our approach with wires.
I never thought about it before until it happened, and now technicians are setting up cases using the arch forms because ultimately doctors got to go to the drawer and pull a wire out. And if the case is set up on that standardization, using those rules I just mentioned, if you choose to use this system, it just makes it really easy to implement in your clinic.
Yeah. Do you implement that from the very first wire, or in an intermediate wire to the end, or working wires?
Yeah, I think you probably already know the answer to this question.
For the sake of those that don't, right?
So it has to do with muscle tone. And really, the lighter round wires really have little or no effect on the width of the arch, in my mind, because they don't have the potential to transversely develop over the muscles that enclose those teeth. And so, but yes, when you cross that threshold, usually from round to rectangular, you are getting into the force levels that can actually advance the case transversely and decrowd the case. And so this is usually for rectangular wires and up. But I hate to tell you that the story may be changing, because we're understanding with one of the top manufacturers, the top manufacturer of nickel titanium, is showing me that they can vary the forces of wires for different gauges. Yeah. And that's a game changer.
Boy, I wonder who could that be?
Yeah, who could that be? Maybe somebody in Japan.
Yeah, maybe GC Orthodontics, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where we were able to connect, right? You were bringing your philosophy, and we were bringing the technology, right? With, again, where we could make that force versus wire gauge irrelevant in a wire selection by allowing, through the manufacturing process, that we could control those unload forces.
Yeah.
And I think light bulbs were going on when we figured, hey, we've got an arch form philosophy with force values now. Boy, I wonder what can we do with that. So we're doing a lot of cool stuff, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about TOMY, the original inventor of superelastic knives. So they are the inventor of the bioactive. I heard you mention that, and that is a great wire, a great intermediate wire for us. Softer in the front and graduates to the posterior, stiffer, but it allows early engagement, and then it's a working wire. You know, this is a great transverse development wire called lateral development. It's available in platinum proportion, so it's turned out to be a great asset to us as we're digging in. And I think, Patrick, it may have started with a meeting in 2023 when you introduced me to Terremoto.
That's right.
So,
Terremoto
is from Mexico City, but originally involved with the development of nickel titanium in Japan. Right. And he gave me a signed copy of his book that day. And if you dig in on some of the history of nickel titanium, they've known this for 20 years.
Yeah.
But really only finding the application now. So it's just it's interesting. Where it's going to take some doing to change doctors' minds, that they don't have to consider, the force level increasing from a 14 to a 16 nitide to an 18 nitide just because the gauge is getting bigger. It actually can develop wires that are stiffer with smaller gauges. And so it's going to be more about wire force.
That's right.
Gauges.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And if we can change that mindset, and get the doctor used to that, I think it's just going to elevate that whole clinical experience, both for doctor and patient. And to me, it's all about timing in the industry, right? As you just said, the technology has been out there a long time, with Terremoto just writing his book. That book, I think, was written 20 years ago.
Yeah, more than 20 years ago.
I mean, the concept really, he was ahead of his time. The concept wasn't there, or the mindset wasn't there. Now, as we start to look to become more efficient, not just clinically, but in our spend, we start to look at ways to save money, but yet, maintain our level and even optimize our level of clinical efficiencies. Then we start looking at technologies. And wire was overlooked for so long, right? The docs focus so much on that perfect bracket scenario, right? There's so much focus on it, how it fits, how it looks, the size, etc. But yet, no one has really put a lot of thought into a wire sequence. And that's what we're good at. And that's, I think, why, again, coming back to our meetings, that we were able to connect so quickly, because you were already there, your mind was there, and it was just a meeting of just perfect collision of timing that we were. Again, I won't take all the credit, of course. I got introduced to you by some folks, but I think we were able to.
No, you were in the room.
I was in the room. Yeah.
You were spearheaded a great trip. We actually visited the factory in Tokyo and outside of Tokyo, so TOMY, and the quality is fantastic, and their engineering team, and we had a great trip. And so it was an eye opener, and that started the ball rolling.
They don't cut corners. They do things as best as they can.
Yeah, it was important for us to be able to show Dr. Waugh like just that level of quality control that TOMY puts into their manufacturing processes. It's incredible. So that you could have the confidence in saying, you know what, these guys know what they're doing, and they have data to support it. It's all about confidence. If we're trying to change a philosophy, change a mindset, change an industry approach, we got to start at the grassroots and just build that confidence all the way through. So getting you over to Tokyo was very important. Of course, we brought your beautiful wife, Susan, and your daughters and made a nice trip out of it. And, made it personal as well as business. And I think that was just great for everybody,
Well, that is the thing that rings through the whole organization is that there's great people.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm enjoying it, because I've been in other situations and where it's a different relationship, but from GC through TOMY from the top down, it's just been a great relationship.
Well, thank you.
Great people.
Well, compliment goes back to you and your family. I mean, just awesome. We had such a good time. I've always had a good time meeting up with you. God knows we've met a lot.
Yeah,
I did a lecture down at your university, down in Augusta, to the kids way back, maybe a year and a half ago. Did a wire presentation for them. And what I love about students is they challenge you at every corner, and they were pushing back, which I love that because now you can engage with them.
They want to learn.
They want to learn and know, and they were putting scenarios out there and you're talking through them.
Yeah.
That's what I suppose 25 years later, that I still love about this business is that you're always learning and you're always being challenged. And I mean, where else can it kind of, work and play in that kind of environment?
I think it's important go to the universities. And I'm really happy that you can do that because in the last few years, the students, they've been kind of bombarded with new technologies, digital technology, and it's almost like nobody's talking about the everyday brackets and wires. And then the kids, they know a lot about aligners, digital technology, software, and then when it comes to bracket and wires, they still have a lot of deficiencies, and they don't understand very well the mechanics and the value of it. So to go back and teach, I think is great. They need that more than ever. It's almost like it's coming back again. The brackets and wire they were a little bit behind for a while. Now people are
reports are saying that fixed appliances are trending back. Again, that the younger generation want that rite of passage to having their braces on again. Which so there's no longer a little bad stigma attached, but it's actually cool now, which is great. It's great for all of us. So I'm excited about the future. From your perspective, with such a big organization, Dr. Waugh, where do you see the future 5-10 years from now in the specialty of orthodontics? Is it going to survive? I mean, do you think is it going to be taken over by corporate America? I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah.
Where do you see it all going?
Well, I used to have a concern that we were making it too easy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the digital process. Maybe it was the, indirect bonding, custom or non-custom, digital indirect bonding. Or maybe even remote care. Those are the digital technologies that are really making us thrive now. And really, it's a lot more implementation. And can you manage it? And really, I think I'm just trying to keep orthodontics in the orthodontic realm. And general dental, they have their place, and they do aligners and some other things. But when it comes right down to the complex cases, we're the bottom line. Specialists in the field, we're responsible for those toughest cases, and we love class 1 mild crowding case, but at the same time, send me your impacted canines, so we have to be able to do it, and it's for the patient, of course. We love on patients first,
Mm-hmm.
That's been our motto at Smile Doctors for a long time, and I really think the future is very bright for orthodontics, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Smile has been growing substantially in the last few years, no?
Yes.
And I think the prediction is it's going to keep growing to 2025, and
I don't know the limit. I just know that
it's the sky.
It's been a great fit for a lot of people. It's gained momentum. We have the largest OSO, and it's. We meet new doctors all the time. We recently had an acquisition where the 80 practices came over who were not enjoying their former group, but at the same time, great doctors, and they have individually great practices. They needed the leadership, and And so they saw that Smile Doctors was a good fit for them, and we thought it was a fantastic fit for us. And they're no longer known by their name; they're Smile Doctors. And so it's just the other day I got my mentee who I'm going to take under my wing, and we all reached out to him just to be their friend, and get them into the organization and welcome them in.
Yeah.
That's great.
One thing I'll say that really impressed me, we had the Smile Doctor Summit down in Louisville, Kentucky, just a couple of weeks ago. And from a vendor perspective, I mean, you always have the concern, boy, Smile Doctors are so big, they're growing so fast. What is that going to do to the orthodontic kind of specialty as a whole? But I got to say, I left that meeting so refreshed and so, I suppose, secure in that the specialty of orthodontics is in good hands. And I think it's a good thing seeing Smile Doctors grow so fast, because I think they are now the, the carekeepers of the specialty. In all the meetings I attended at the summit, it was all patient-centric meetings. It wasn't about profitability or cutting costs. It was about being able to provide services, doctor-driven specialty services to the patient, and how we can reach those patients. So
That's great.
That was nice to see. I loved it, so I really enjoyed that. That was refreshing for me. And as a vendor who've just recently partnered with them, kind of makes you feel good when your values start to align. So yeah, I loved it. It was a great meeting. Plus the bourbon was pretty decent too. So we had some fun down there too.
Yeah.
Which you got to have some fun, right?
Absolutely.
Good.
That Kentucky Derby night was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. So it's been, I guess it's difficult as a clinical director to implement some of these changes through the whole organization. How do you do that? I mean, is phases or just kind of for certain practices or?
Well, I guess my initially I did more with treatment plans and drafting, documents and procedures, implementation. Now I've kind of gravitated over to products. I have a group that I lead. There's a fantastic group of doctors in my Fix Champions group, and we dole out all the pilots and tests and trials for products that are new to markets, things we're considering adding to our formulary. So it's from that standpoint, I manage it from that angle. But if you're talking about just sheer numbers, I see it as an opportunity because having my own practice, I could only reach so many people.
Yeah.
But let's just say I was to introduce a new hygiene program or something that really cut down on decalcification. Well, now I've got 560 offices that we can impact. And so it's a responsibility, quite honestly, and an opportunity.
Huge. Yeah, that's great. So, and now the coordinated arch wires, following the platinum proportions, there are which wires there are available with that proportion, Patrick?
Yeah, sure. Well, of course, we have the CCO coordinated arch available, the 2020 bioactive wire for you, of course, Dr. Secchi, in your 1925 stainless steel. For Smile Doctors, again, with the guidance of Dr. Waugh, we kind of, we're phasing it in. We have the 1425 and coordinated sets. We have the 1825 coordinated sets. We're working on a 1725 coordinated set. Of course, these guys like to put stops in their wires, a lot of SL users in there. So we've added a lot of stops to our wires. They're pre-packaged now. So really, we've been able to adapt pretty quickly, I think, to your needs. Just a lightning speed.
I've seen the headquarters in Chicago with the rows and rows.
It's
wild. They did not hold back.
I have the wires just with the stops too, the coordinated.
They're great.
Yeah.
It's the devil is in the details. I try to really emphasize this all the time. TOMY, they care so much about a crimpable stop. And we've had discussions about it, the size of the stop, the shape of the stop, how shiny it is, how we should polish it and make the edges smooth. If you have a manufacturing company that cares so much about a crimpable stop, you can only imagine the care they put into like a big item like a bracket or a wire. That's how hyper-focused they are. That's just amazing. And it's stuff that you don't see in this environment anymore, where really we get lost in the cost of something instead of the value of something. And I think really, for me, I'm so happy and proud to be working for a company that still really see that value matters, not just cost. And, I think that philosophy really, I think, has forged our relationship with Smile Doctors, because I think your users are starting to see, that we're not familiar with our products, but they see the care and the value that we're able to bring into the relationship. And I can't imagine where it's going to be in 2-3 years from now when we keep developing this stuff and leverage each other, work off each other to keep pushing forward, and elevating the patient care and patient experience.
Yeah,
Guys,
GC's done a great job of the education.
Yeah.
I think that's hits home. It's not every day you get education on wire, right?
Yeah.
And we see a lot of cases and a lot of decisions that are made, and you see how things work out. But it's really interesting how responsive they've been to create these wires and how they see the value in it, and you're driving forward with it.
Yeah.
It's probably worth mentioning one of the hot new wires is the Tandem 12.
Yes.
That's 2012s with a single stop pre-packaged by GC, the only one in the world to do it. And that helps you fill a slot early with light force, same force as a 16 nighttime. So
incredible. And of course, you were so heavily involved in that and kind of steering the ship, if you like, if you will, towards that. And that has really worked out great. And I think, that has changed orthodontics. And I think it will continue to change how we view a wire sequence.
It's not a new idea.
No.
Tandem, piggyback, whatever you'd like to call it, has been around for a long time. But now that we're understanding a little bit more about wire force, we're able to consider these options. And
who knows what we can do in the future.
TOMY's been really responsive, GC also, to get it packaged and delivered. And it's been a great run, great year.
It ain't over yet. We're just getting started. So
just getting started.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think the future is great. I mean, I think that we have right now probably the best appliances that we ever had. Brackets and wires. I mean, amazing. So, do you see that impacting, of course, treatment time and efficiency in the offices? Of course.
Of course, yeah. The offices now, especially in the OSOs, we're counting visits.
Yeah.
We're looking at using remote care to help us manage the reduced visits. We want wires that are working longer and are more completely developing the arches before we bring patients back, monitoring the hygiene the whole way. And so I think what has traditionally been in other systems, 5 wires or more in each arch is quickly becoming 3. I would say 3 on a regular basis. And so that's a big convenience for the patient. Not having to people are busy, and it's just a great way to manage your cases and watch some great results roll in.
Yeah. That's great. So, well, I think that this is a great partnership. I mean, between you guys. I mean, I'm very happy to see that GC Orthodontics can help you and Smile Doc. I mean, it's all about providing the best care that we can. So time is running up, but I'm gonna say thank you very much, Bob, for coming, and we're gonna be hopefully enjoying the weekend with you at the AAO in Philadelphia. And Patrick, thank you also for coming, buddy. I need to ask you one question: is really Guinness better in Ireland than in the US, or is the same?
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
Okay. I need to. He said it. He said it for everybody.
He witnessed it. I think I bought you your very first Guinness in Ireland. So
I know.
I buy you a Guinness in the US. I got to take you over there, and we did a couple of years, maybe 7, 8
more
years
than
ago.
Yeah.
I gave him his first Guinness. So
that's good.
Really, I should ask you that question. So how did you like the Guinness in Ireland?
No, it's the best one. Is across the Atlantic. No question about it. Yeah.
And I got to say, speaking of Guinness, Dr. Waugh, I think recently we had a little meeting in Chicago where we had marked out some benchmarks and achieved some benchmarks, and I think we celebrated with a Guinness.
That's exactly right.
We certainly did. So
it used to be a trend.
It's a trend.
It's a trend.
So great. Hey, it's great. I really appreciate you, Dr. Waugh. You're a friend. You're a teacher. I love working with you. So here's to the future. So thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you, guys.